Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the 3BeerPod. It's Chris and Tim, and our guest is already standing by, so we'll get to him here in a minute. What's going on, Timmer?
Hey, Cloudy, how's it going today?
Not too bad, buddy. I'm doing look at the outside. I got
You're brave. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Some palms set up out here.
I love it. That's beautiful. I was not brave enough to set up shop outside tonight. It is too hot for me.
Yeah,
I couldn't pull that off.
Not gonna lie.
I also
regretting it.
I lean in a lot when I go to look at things. I can't see any more of your backyard if I lean in. But I have this thing where I keep doing it. I'm like, oh, I can't see anymore.
We're gonna pan around.
Hot day here.
Welcome to it. It is episode number 8 of the 3BeerPod. Again, thanks last week to James Duthie, our guest. He was great last week, and always a lot of fun. And we are now an official podcast, Timmer.
It was a real deal. Yeah, we started out on Facebook, and now we are where you hear your normal podcasts is where you'll hear us. Right. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and then a whole list of other ones. Yeah, so check out our links on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. Go.
You can tune us and download us. It's awesome.
Yes, find us there and download us. What do they say? Like and subscribe. Rate and subscribe is what you're supposed to do. Rate and subscribe. So
that's exciting.
Our guest tonight is going to be Todd Warriner. We're going to talk to him in just a few minutes. But before we do, we always start off with what you drinking, bod, here tonight. What are you having tonight on the 3BeerPod? We're going to change this up a little bit, Timmer. We're going to give you everything we're drinking right off the top because I am guilty of not getting 3 beers in on every show. But
yeah, and you get called out for it all the time. That's all right. I went with a summertime feel here because it's 106 degrees out. So I'm going to start off with Sons of Kent, Barry White. We talked about it back a couple episodes ago. Yep. So Barry White's back. I dove into a couple of those this weekend, and it's fantastic. The second one that I'm going to go with made a trip down to Sandwich and picked up some. Had a White Bronco a couple episodes again. Now I got a Prairie Sunshine, which is a blood orange wheat beer, and it's scrumptious. And I'm not really a wheat beer guy, and that's 2 different wheat beers right there. But man, this one is scrumptious for summertime drinking. And then finally, I'm going to finish off with the Railway City cream stick ale, which never disappoints. The fresher the better on this one, and this one is as fresh as you can get right here. So that's exciting for me tonight on the podcast.
All right, my first one, and I'm already almost done this from Collective Arts up in Hamilton, a pineapple vanilla IPA. This is delicious. This is delicious. I'm a couple sips into that one. If I get to it, our friends over at Refined Fool in Sarnia.
Nice.
Dig into this here. Loving it. And then I found this one, Timmer, a Hometown Brew Hazy Susan IPA. Have you had this yet?
No, I'm excited to see what that one's like. I think you should crack that one open.
Yeah, I'll get to that. It
sounds delicious. I love the hazy IPAs, so looking forward to seeing that one. I'm just pouring out my Barry White right now.
Well, before we get to our guest here, we got some beer buzz that's going on in the beer world. Do you want to start with this one here today? I guess we should first of all shout out our guest from episode 2, the family over at Red Barn Brewing in Blenheim, who have got some good news here today.
Yeah, I don't really know all the details there, but they said good news is coming soon, which has got to mean that they're got to be pumping out some beer for us soon, and that's exciting for sure. So as soon as we can get Red Barn pumping out some beer here in Blenheim, Ontario, home of Todd Warriner, good connection here tonight. Maybe we all of us can meet up there at a socially distanced and have a couple of beers at the Red Barn. So that's exciting. Hopefully, Denny will be able to give us some news here soon on what that all means and when we can actually get the Red Barn. So that's exciting for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. There's Denny. They're posting there. Big League Boys. Thanks, buddy. Our buddy Wade Vermeesh, he's also a big fan of Red Barn there as well. Loving your choices tonight. Ron on our Facebook tonight. I'm working, so enjoy. Ron, you can catch up later. Oh. Timmy Haskell, thanks, buddy. I love Timmy. He's a good dude. And Leanne is saying, hi, Tim. Love your show.
That's my cousin.
Nice.
That's my cousin. There you go. Thanks for checking in, Leanne.
Gotta have family. Family. All right, Timber, OV, what's the story here, dude?
Oh, man, this is scary stuff. Saw a tweet today with some speculation that O Vienna is going to be not made anymore. and definitely could not confirm it and have no sources other than a couple of tweets.
Run with it.
But man, this it hit home. It scared me a bit, and so and we focus a lot on craft beer here. But OV, that's an old time favorite right there.
That's a staple right there.
Yeah, so lots of good memories drinking OV on tap at places like the Central Tavern in Pancor and Montreal House in the small glasses, and the Curling Club. I don't know if you knew this, but did a couple of years as skipping Team OV at the Chatham Granite Club.
Really?
Yeah. I was the skip of Team OV. We just called ourselves Team OV, and I was a terrible skip. but man, did we enjoy OV. So this would be a shock if OV stopped. So hopefully we Ronnie Eichenberger tuning in tonight is an OV guy. So it's going to hit home if OV is done. So I will confirm with the no sources that I have, and we'll check that. One tweet really set me off today. I got scared. It's like childhood memories, not of me drinking OV, but others, and then good times drinking OV afterwards. So really concerned here with that one tweet.
You are a beer insider. Insider.
Yes, check back for more insider stuff.
Just one tweet and you run with it. Hey, Dougie Ford, Premier of Ontario, suggesting that he had a press conference on Monday and he said, you know how we can do the takeout, we can get alcohol now with it? And they announced that with the COVID. Right. They said that might be here to stay. So way back in March, they kicked that off, and they say that's really helping restaurants right now. They obviously need more help, and we need to keep ordering it and supporting our local restaurants. But they're giving great feedback on that, and it's been a success so far. So if you are doing that, keep doing that and support those.
Keep doing it. I haven't tried it yet. It still seems kind of odd, but I'm sure when summertime rolls around here and stop by, grab some takeout, tasty beer for the road. It'll be good to try different beers that way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So next time you're doing the takeout, you can do that. Wanted to tell you this cute story about down in Long Island, New York. There's this brewery, Six Harbors Brewing Company, that is doing the door-to-door delivery. And what they've done now, they've got two dogs, two golden retrievers, Buddy and Barley, who are dressed up like the St. Bernards you see on the ski slopes.
And they bring beer?
Yeah, so they'll show up at your house, and then they outfit the dogs. The dogs run up to your door, drop off the beer, and off they go.
That would be amazing to have a useful dog. My dog Norman, which we won't get into the details of Norman and his breed, but because he has none, and but I don't think he could carry a 6-pack if his life depended on it. No. So if we had a useful dog that could bring beer to me and my neighbors, I think that's a fantastic idea.
If I could pan around right now and show you my useful dog, it would.
What's it doing?
It's just laying around doing absolutely nothing.
The life of a dog. It's great.
One more story. Beer Buzz tonight is Bud Light. So we've talked a bunch here on the pod about how restaurants are having a lot of draft waste because it's been sitting in lines, it's been sitting in the coolers. The bottles have been sitting around restaurants. Now they're closed, right? They can't move it.
Yeah, they got stuck with a lot of beer from things like St. Patrick's Day alone, right there, right?
Oh, for sure, because it happened 3 days beforehand. So. Yeah. Bud Light has started their Certified Fresh initiative. Well, they're swapping it out at no cost to restaurants. And obviously, they want to have the best beer in the hands of their restaurants when they're ready to serve. So they're starting to do that at places down in the U.S. that are reopening, but they're going to work that in across North America. So I thought that was
want to get the freshest beer out there. I think that's the advantage of having some local breweries around us here in the Chatham area is getting that fresh beer. So even though it's Bud Light, you still want it fresh.
For sure.
It's good stuff.
Well, should we go to our guest?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, where is he? Let's see if he's here.
Oh, we lost him.
No, there he is. Well, we're getting a look at his exterior there. We're going to talk to Todd Warriner here in just a minute. He just ran to get a drink. I saw him there in the corner. So Todd Warriner.
That's awesome.
There he is.
Whoa.
There he is.
Magic.
Oh, I'm losing.
There's Todd. What's going on, buddy? We'll get him set up. Here, Todd, we'll get you reconnected. There he is.
Todd was here. You know what's awesome about Blenheim, Ontario? Everything, maybe other than their internet connection.
I can see him here. He's just getting reconnected, so we'll get
lots of good highlights. But
Okay. Well, while Todd is doing that and getting reconnected, I got one more story here for you. Actually, I got a couple more stories in the beer buzz tonight. Let's get back into that. London Brewing has got a transmission IPA that they're making, and the funds are going to Radio Western. So,
nice.
Support your local radio station. Drink beer. I thought that was a great idea.
Good combination.
For sure. And in Vancouver, they're actually at council tonight. They're talking about allowing alcohol in public spaces like beaches and parks, just because people aren't congregating in restaurants anymore. So they're looking for places where you normally wouldn't have a patio to have people have the ability to maybe hang out and have a drink. So
that doesn't seem like a bad idea, as long as we got some social distancing going on there and you can enjoy a beer in the wide open spaces. I'm all for that, for sure.
For sure. Let's see if we got Todd here. Todd, we got you hooked up, buddy?
Hello.
There you are. How you doing? We are getting a horrible connection in Blenheim today. I see you and we hear you intermittently, but it's not coming in too hot right now.
How's that? Better?
There you go. That's better. You're frozen, but we're hearing you loud and clear.
For 10 minutes.
Well, you caught the best part.
Okay.
What's going on, Todd? How have things been?
Really good, boys. Congratulations on the new 3Beer podcast. I'm impressed. I know Mac well. I don't know you, Tim, but he's a connoisseur. You're in good hands.
I am. He's been carrying me. I'm not going to lie, Todd. He's been carrying the ship. I drink some beers and talk some stuff, but I know I'm in good hands with Cloudy here for sure. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, so Todd is a guest here and a buddy of mine and now of yours too, Tim. Are you having a beer with us tonight, Todd? What are you doing?
I got my standard Bud Light. We had a long day in the yard today, boys, so I just needed something cold.
Yes.
I hope it's fresh. That's all good.
I haven't having these. I got to show you these. It's not a beer. This is the Quebec Coast Moscow Mule. Have you guys seen this?
No. What is this?
Moscow Mule. It's supposed to come in a copper cup, you know.
Oh, nice.
Vodka drink. It's got lime.
Yeah.
It's really. So that's been my staples of late.
For sure. So what have you been up to here? We haven't talked. Obviously, hockey season kind of ended real quick. What's keeping you busy?
Well, I said I've been really my landscaping exploits have been legendary. I used to take you for a walk in my yard. I ripped out a whole bunch of vine, and we planted a whole bunch of new seed, and we've done some new gardens, and so I'm right in the middle of all that, and anything to keep busy. You guys know it's tough when you can't be doing what you want to be doing. So we get up in the morning. The kids are still doing their homework, and 9 till noon's kind of like school time, and then we get busy outside as much as we can.
Are you doing the teacher thing? Are you doing the homeschooling?
No, I've helped my little one a little bit with some stuff, but my middle daughter is in grade 8. She's going to miss her graduation height. She's pretty disappointed about that. But the other two are in high school, so it's already and it's French, so it's already way over my head.
So, Todd, we want to talk about a bunch of stuff here. Obviously, people in this area would know your background, but this podcast is worldwide, Todd. So,
broadcasting in all corners of the world.
So we want to talk about a couple things. I want to go back because one thing that jumped out at me, and I don't know if I ever figured this out, is you played for the Blenheim Blades, Junior C, when you were 14 years old. Were you grade 9? Was that grade 8 or grade 9?
You know what? I think it was grade 9. I should know this, but I turned 15 that year. So that I was playing Bantam and Blenheim. And we played, 50 games of Bantam. I played some midget too, and then the junior C team was because Todd Carnus, who's a childhood friend, played on all our minor ball teams. He was a year older, and Scott back up to play games. And that year, I think it was the next year where they won once.
Oh, that's right.
And
yes.
So it was a tough year. Yeah. So, I played 12 games, and I think I was on the ice for one win in that stretch, So it was a team that needed some help. We were pretty good. We had some young guys there that were pretty good players from town, and so they gave us a chance to play some games.
That's awesome.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to play at that point.
I could imagine. Well, my son, he's 14 now. Like, he's going to be 14 in 3 weeks. I couldn't imagine him suiting up for junior C. That's crazy. Todd, you go on to play with the Windsor Spitfires. You had a couple years there, and I've seen some guys on here online tonight that are from Windsor tuning in. So they remember your time with the Windsor Spitfires. That was a wild time playing hockey in the old barn in Windsor, wasn't it?
Great memories. I think about that now, and to try to explain the environment to some of the modern players is really hard because they have no concept of what that would be like, right? And I mean, short glass, fans right on top of you. There was nights where, I felt bad for the visiting teams. They had to fight their way out of the arena. It was really a lopsided fan base, and they were in your court. So, and small rink. It was a different game altogether from what I was used to. So I had to learn fast, and I look back on that time. And I tell people, Bill Bowler, Mac, and he was one of the best playmaking centermen to ever play junior hockey, and I mean that. And he was my centerman part of my second year. My first year was Corey Stillman, who 2-time Stanley Cup winner. So I came into the Spitfires at the right time as a winger who wanted to shoot the puck and had great players. I mean, Motor City Smitty was my coach, and he gave me an opportunity right out of the gate as an underage player, and that wasn't the norm at the time. So. Great experience. I lived with Bob and Val Bugner, who of course Bob Senior and Val, who still work at the arena in Windsor, and just a great time in my life. And again, all these people in my court, and I had these centermen and players around me who were really good and made me look really good. And so and to go back now and see what it's become when we get to call these games is pretty special.
Todd Warriner is with us here tonight, Timmer, on the 3BeerPod. Now, those that are tuning in and might not know hockey or might not really know the story between the Windsor Arena, it's an old barn. It's tight. And back then, you're right, you fight your way out of the arena. But every player that I've ever talked to has a story about playing at the Windsor Arena in downtown Windsor. Have you got a good one for us you can share? That you can share.
I remember... Gosh, there was birds. You've heard stories of the birds that would fly around. So they had the old fan from the end of the year. And birds used to fly around. There was times in practice you'd be skating around. It was like someone was dive bombing. Like somebody was like a shadow would come over. There was a night we played London in the playoffs, and Don Van Massenhoven was the ref. And Motor City Smitty to this day will tell you that the puck had crossed the line right down in our corner, and we'd won the game in overtime. Of course, it got called back, and we lose. And it was against the London Knights. Chris Taylor actually beat us, I think, that night. Anyway, so Smitty was still mad at Don, and he was waving the white flag like Roger Nielsen did, and we were on the ice, and it was like it might blow up into a brawl at the end of the game, but it didn't. But the fans were throwing like slushes and coke and everything on the ice. And I remember leaving the ice, and my jersey was completely blue from the blue slush that hit me from the crowd.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome.
So that happened all.
This is a story I love, and I've gotten you to tell it many, many times. So, as a junior hockey player, especially in Canada, you get the chance to play for the World Juniors, and that's the tournament over Christmas that Canada just won this year. But Todd, explain the story about your World Junior tryouts and how that all went down. I don't even know what year it was, but it's still one of my favorites.
Well, it still hurts that I got cut. That's for sure, right? So that's probably why it's fresh in my mind to tell so often. But I was rooming with Jeff Bess. You guys remember, and he's still coaching now. He coaches down in Evansville in the Southern Professional League. And after I tried out, some of the networks would cover the event and the picking of the team. You guys know, so they would actually knock on doors and say, "You made it, you didn't make it," and it was made for good TV because these young kids were, hungry to make this team and go away at Christmas and represent their country and all those things. But this time, of course, it wasn't on TV, but it was the same thing. It was a phone call in the morning, and you found out whether you made it or not, or if your bags are packed in the lobby. So the phone rings, and Jeff answers it, and of course he's like, whatever he says, and he says it's for you. So then I know I'm the guy that's getting cut, right? So I there's little fanfare. There's no media scrum or anything like this time. I walk in the lobby and there's my bag, and there's the Robert Q bus. I get on the Robert Q bus, and the camp had been in Kitchener, so I get on the bus and take this Robert Q from Kitchener back to Windsor. And so keep in mind, this is like December 19th, whatever it would be, 20th kind of thing. And so Robert Q all the way back by myself, all the way to Windsor. And I get to the front of the Old Windsor Arena, and the guy says, "That's $100." So the Robert Q man, I could pay for the taxi, right? 18-year-old junior, I have no money. So I walk into the office, and there's Steve Horn, who still works for the Spitfires today. And he's young at the time, and he's just mortified to know that I'd gotten cut. And I said, "Steve, listen, the guy in the van wants $100. Can you pay him?" Like I thought, Hockey Canada would have covered that. You know what I mean? So he's panicked. He's sweating and he's nervous. He's like, I'm thinking back, I got caught, whatever it may be. He's like, "Toddy, just sit still for a bit, and I'll get the money and just hang out here in the lobby kind of thing in the front of the old building." So I'm like, what's going on? I grab my bag and I'm sitting there. He pays the guy off. He comes back and he goes, "Wayne Maxner wants to see you." So the GM wants to see me in his office. So I'm thinking, he's going to say, "It's too bad, I finished strong, whatever. It's tough team to make." He says, "We traded you to the Kitchener Rangers." I take the Robert Q. Robert Q. Get cut. I have to pay for it. Only to get traded right back to where 2 hours.
Come on.
Oh man,
that's awesome. I love that story. And Timmer, I've heard a lot of these stories, and I hear them over and over again. So, Todd, you're drafted by the Quebec Nordiques. There was a lot of talk that year in '92 about you being the first overall pick. You were the top North American there, and they end up dropping to number 4 to Quebec. What was that like? Like nowadays we're hearing about Connor McDavid and we hear about him the whole season, and we're looking at him to get the first overall pick and hearing about this year's draft and Lafreniere and the countdown to how that draft goes. Was it similar back then in '92 to counting down and that first overall pick in that first round?
Well, to be honest, I thought, so this is another one of these stories from junior, but so I was rated first, if you believe it. And so Tampa was picking first that year. And I'd been to Tampa in, say, early May and met with Phil Esposito and Tony and all the staff. And there was 3 or 4 of us that had gone, and then I'd gone back. And they basically said to me that I was gonna be their guy. They were going to take me. So for 6 weeks leading up to the draft, I thought that Tampa was going to take me first overall. So we're in Montreal. I drove down with Donnie Meehan in his car, and I'll never forget. We got there like Thursday, and so the draft isn't until Saturday. It was a full day then, and Friday night I get a call in my room at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel in Montreal, and it's Donnie Meehan, my agent from Newport. He says, "Toddy, come down to my room. We got to have a talk." And I said, "Geez, okay." So we were planning on. I had all my friends down there. We were planning all the guys that were going to get drafted. A bunch of guys that I knew in the league. We were going to go down on St. Catherine Street and have a good time. See Donnie. And he says, "Hey, listen, Tampa's just had some of their meetings with their scouts and their executives, and they want to let their scouts pick the first player ever in franchise history." So the scouts decided they were going to take Roman Hamrlik, but I only found that out like at the 12th hour, the night before the draft. So my immediate family and friends and everybody are thinking, because I told them in the months leading up to the draft, that I was going to go to Tampa. So I had sort of a gag order for 20 until the draft ended to not say anything publicly or to anyone for that matter. So I'm sitting on the draft floor. Wow. And I'll never forget it. So all my friends and family are behind me, and they think, except for my mom and dad, they all think I'm going to get drafted by the Lightning. Well, so the Lightning goes up and they pick Hamrlik, and there's sort of a collective groan from the area that what happened there, right? So I don't have any idea because I had not interviewed in about I hadn't interviewed since about January. I remember I met with the Rangers and the Sharks during that period. It wasn't like today where you would walk into a boardroom, and they have like the car wash where you go through everybody and all the teams interview you in one day. That time, they had to call your club team. They'd call Steve Horn and say, "What's Todd's plans tomorrow? I'm going to be in town at the game. Can I take him to lunch?" kind of thing. So I probably did that, a dozen times over 5 months. So I had, so anyway, Ottawa picks second. They take Yashin. San Jose's up at 3. I think, well, okay, I did talk to them a while ago, but I don't know. I haven't spoken to them recently. They take Mike Ratchie. So I'll never forget it. Like, I'm literally as like the common fan at this point, because I have no idea where I'm going. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting. My family is this way, and my agent is right here beside me. So my mom and dad are beside me, my sister. And I'll never forget it, because Donnie Meehan, who's one of the nicest, salt of the earth people you ever meet in the sport, he gets the nod from Quebec at 4. So he's looking over at the table, and it's Pierre Gauthier and Pierre Pache. They stand up and they kind of give Donnie, like, yeah, we're taking your guy. And Donnie goes, oh shit, Quebec's gonna take you. Montreal 4. And there's my agent. Shit, Quebec's going to take I was thrilled. I didn't even care. You know me, Max. So I went up, and you'll remember the year prior to that was when Eric Lindros would refuse to put the jersey on, the Nordique jersey, the year prior, because of his grief with Marcelo Bou, the owner at the time. So I go up unknowingly. We're at the Forum in Montreal. I'm expecting to get booed because I'm putting on the Nordique jersey, but I put on the Nordique jersey at the Montreal Forum, and they give me a standing ovation. And at first, I'm like, it doesn't dawn on me as to why that would be. Like, maybe they're just happy that I finally got that. But it was actually because I had the jersey on, and the Francophone people were applauding me for doing that. So it was pretty cool. But that's how that all played out. That was literally the last 24 hours leading up that I had no idea what was going down.
Wow. And then you actually never actually played a game for them either. So Todd, I don't want to take up your whole night here, but Tim, we wanted to ask about the Olympics, right? Because you were in the 94 Lillehammer games, got the silver medal. You may remember Peter Forsberg one hand. I'm sure you remember it.
I watched that one yesterday when we confirmed that Todd would be on. I went back and watched that. I guess did Team Canada or did Hockey Canada foot the bill for that one, Todd, or did you have to pay your own way for that? The cab ride, they actually pay. They hooked you up.
Oh, you mean later on? Oh, I never got reimbursed my cab ride. Okay, they picked me for the Olympic team, so I forgot real fast.
Fair enough. Can you tell us a little bit about that Olympic experience, Todd? What was it like to play for Team Canada in the Olympics? I think it's something that everyone dreams of.
Yeah, no, I sorry, Timmy. I went to Quebec's camp at my second camp. So, and at that time they made the Lindros trade. So we had all these players now at camp, and camp was much more competitive, as you can imagine. So, it gets to the end of training camp, and myself and Dwayne Norris went. We're kind of called into the office by Pierre Paget, our coach, and said, "Hey, listen, we think you could play. You know, we liked your training camp kind of thing, but hey, there's this option with the national team. What do you think?" And so the two of us kind of looked at each other like, yeah, it's an Olympic year. It's the last year that it's going to be an amateur event, and it's going to be NHL players after this. So, and we thought, yeah, why not? So we joined the team in Ottawa. We played in the Sioux, and we played our last exhibition game against the Ottawa Senators that night. And then we went back to Calgary, and we trained in Calgary for about 3 weeks, and we would do 2-a-day training at altitude, and then we went to Europe for a bunch of exhibition games. So we did. So anyway, just a great experience. First of all, I'm a teenager. I'm getting to see the world. I'm playing in all these club events and playing against pro teams all over the world, and it's a constant tryout, which is the thing that people forget about the national program at the time. So it's basically like you're performing from game to game, and you're making your minor league salary, but there's players auditioning to try and make the team better. So we added Peter Nedved, we added Paul Correa, we added a bunch of guys down the stretch and made our team better. But just a great experience. And you know what? It's funny. We were going to have a reunion with that group in Collingwood coming up in a few weeks, which we had to cancel.
Wow.
So guys still friends today, and Tom raised him with us. He was our coach at the time, and tough year, and our team struggled a lot throughout the year. You may not know this, like we every time we came back to Canada, we'd have bad press about, the team we're putting together to go represent the country in Lillehammer. And so things sort of started to snowball for us when we went to the Swedish tournament called the Globen Cup. And that was about 3 weeks before the Olympics. And we really started to play much better and kind of got our legs under us a little bit. Having Korea and Nedved late was obviously huge. And then we just played, much better and down the stretch, and we got on a roll in the actual games, and things just snowballed from there. We picked to finish ninth, and I tell a story that, we played the Americans 10 times that year, and I think we won one time, and it was in a shootout.
Wow.
So our record was, not good leading up to it. So we'd taken some bad press. We'd had some searching. We'd had a lot of reason to doubt us, but we played good when it mattered most, and we got to the gold medal game. We were that close. So.
Yeah, awesome.
Now, Tim, you did some research on this. That was the Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding games. Is that right?
That was the same games. Yeah. I think that was the memorable one for me because of living so close to Detroit, and that's where the assault happened. I remember breaking in live. That stuff was going down at Jolos Arena. So same Olympics. Yeah.
Did you get to witness any of that craziness, Todd? I never asked you about that.
No. Well, did it the game?
Well, it happened before. It happened leading into it. And then the whole drama of them going to compete, and Tanya was allowed to compete, and blah, blah, blah. So. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I don't remember having much. First of all, I got hurt in the middle of that Olympic Games, right? So it was tricky for me. I was on my own schedule midway through, but I'll say this: the village was really cool. Like just getting to meet. That's maybe the thing, other than the way we really came together in the 11th hour, is probably the thing that I'll remember most. Just meeting athletes who I'd watched and admired from a distance. And I always say, like, as hockey players, we're so hardwired for our own sport and the things we do, and we forget there's a whole other world of really good, determined, athletes out there that are doing their own thing in their own way. And so I think it was really good for us. And I talked to guys about it while we were in it. Just getting to meet Alberto Tomba. Sitting in the lounge having a drink. Alberto Tomba, so people that are, at us too, right? And so that was pretty cool. But I don't remember the drama with the figure skating. And to be honest, we didn't really see a lot of the figure skaters. And I tell the story, like I sat down beside, from Chad, I'm sorry.
Shaylin Bourne.
Shaylin. So I told you this story before. We're in the opening ceremonies, and they're ushering all the teams in. You walk around the track, where all the things are happening, and they send us up into this section of the stadium. And I sit down beside her. I don't even know her. My mom says to me, "There's a girl from Chatham that figure skates. You got to keep your eyes out for her." I'm like, "Okay." And I sit down beside her, and she's like, "You're Todd," and I'm like, "Oh, you're Shaylin." So that was the first time I'd met Shaylin Bourne. I'd heard all about her, of course, and sat down beside each other at the ceremonies of the Olympic Games. Not ever met before. So
that's great.
Her name.
Where's the silver medal now?
It's here. It's in the house. I keep it. Every 4 years, I do talks at the schools, and I take my goofy red jacket and everything, and do public appearances with it. I think listen, I love the Olympic Games for all that it is, and the spirit of it all. And I'm disappointed we're not going to have one this summer, but kids tease me now because I'll wear the medal and I'll walk into the school and I'll have the full regalia on, and they tease me how I look. But I'm still proud of that. And it's true. Like, we're really looking forward to this reunion because it is a really good group of guys. It's Brian Savage and Adrian O'Coin and you guys know David Harlock and so many good players. And we lost Greg Johnson this year, of course, too. And so that was part of the reason we thought we'd get together, and so really good guys who still. Brian Savage was my roommate. Dwayne Norris, who I left Quebec with, we all lived together, and Todd Alushko, you guys would know that name. I talked to him pretty regularly too. So yeah, just a great experience, and one of my fondest memories as a player.
I want to ask a bunch of questions here. I don't want to get all hockey nerdy because that's not what this is all about. But you were Quebec, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Vancouver, Philadelphia, Nashville before heading over to Europe and playing over there. We will never know what it's like to be traded from our jobs. Tim goes to work every day. I go to work every day. Nobody calls us into the office and says, "All right, we're sending you to another place." What is that like? Is you wife and kids and you're in Toronto, the center of the hockey universe. Now you're in Tampa. Then you go to Phoenix. Then you go to Nashville before it was really Smashville. And what was that like when you get called in? They're saying, "All right, we're going to trade you. You're gone."
Well, the first time it happens, it's a shock. I mean, the first time it happened for me was in junior, as you know. I told you the story when I got off the Robert Q bus, and that was a shock too. But I was ready to move on at that point. But the first time you get traded, when I left Quebec, it was a shock. I was a part of a huge trade, as you know, and so I looked at it as though here's a Leaf fan from way back, and here's my opportunity to play for the Leafs. So that was actually a huge change in my life, as you can imagine. But after that, when I left Toronto, I was not ready to leave. I tell people that too. Like, that trade came out of nowhere. Like, I had no concept that I was being dealt to Tampa at the time, and then once you got settled in Tampa, that was a rebuild in so many ways, and there was a lot of different things about playing in Florida at that time, having come from Toronto, and it's just a different market altogether. But I liked it, and I liked the people I was with, and then after that, I think you're just immune to it in some ways. Like, you just know it's a business at that point, and you can sort of gauge where you're at, what you're making, the years you've been on the earth, and where you fit in the whole puzzle. That you become expendable much more as you get older, as you know.
Before we get too far, and I wanted to make sure I asked this because I had posted something online calling you One Touch, and it's funny, and I think, is it Pat Burns' book where he refers to you as One Touch, and the story about how you got the nickname One Touch is a good one. Can you share that with us?
Yes, I can. I was a rookie in Toronto, and for me to even be on, for me to be on a Pat Burns team, like, I was part of a big trade, and I was a young player, and Pat loved to have his veteran teams, and so I didn't know if I'd be able to win Pat over, so it was kind of I got cut. I'd been in the minors for a while. I came back. He cut me again, and I kind of just said, I got to find a way to get back in the lineup. So I got called up in October, scored, stayed in the lineup for a stretch, and then I was kind of in and out of the lineup to him, So I knew that was the case. What was going to happen? I knew enough of the guys from beforehand that Pat wasn't going to be real warm to me, and that's okay. He gave me a chance to play. So it's probably 3 months into my time. So around Christmas, and we're in New Jersey, and I'd sat out some games, and I played most of them. I probably played 80% of them. So I'm in my 30th game call, and the puck comes. We're in our end, and I'm the winger. I'm got my ass on the boards, ready for the breakout pass, like any winger would. And instead of like absorbing that pass, I try to one touch it. I try to just punch it right back to our defenseman as he passes it to me from behind the net. So he's coming around the net. I'm going to punch it to him. Got two guys bearing down on me. I think it's a smart play. It's not a smart play. So puck goes behind the net and is thrown out into the front of the net and hits our defenseman and goes in the net. It's a goal. And New Jersey at that time, that's like a 4-0 lead today. That's a lockdown. They're gonna punch it. So first intermission, we come in and Pat, I know I'm gonna hear about it, but Pat in New Jersey at that time, there's a big island with Gatorade and the tape and everything on it, and then there's a door that kind of goes into the training room. So I'm a rookie sitting behind the door. So he starts to yell at me and say, "Todd, this, NHL, you can't be doing this kind of stuff." And he finally figures out I must be behind the door because he's trying to yell at me, but he can't find me in the room. And he goes, "There's only two guys who can make one-touch passes. So it's Gretzky and Lemieux." And then he comes right over by the door and he goes, "And last I checked, you weren't one of them." So guys come over. The guys come over, give me a tap on the shin. Hey, don't worry about it, whatever. I'm like, no problem, whatever. So the next week in practice, I scored a goal. This is maybe 3 days later. And I hear Benoit Hogue in his French accent. He goes, "That away, one touch." So I start chuckling. I hear it. I'm like, well, I can't laugh about that. And Burnsy will kill me. And then I scored again later in practice. And Mike Gartner, of course, veteran guy, well respected. He's like, good job, one touch. You know, and I got again. So I skate. I never forget. I skate down by the visiting bench during practice at Maple Leaf Gardens, and I park myself down there away from all the chatter, thinking Burnsy's probably just burning a hole in me at that point. Well, I see him coming down. I see him skate towards me, coming down from the other bench. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna have me in St. John's by lunch, you know. So he kind of leads in. I see him out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh my God. He goes, well, looks like you got a nickname, eh, kid? And then he skated away. So
I love it.
Burnsy, because he actually, this is one of the first times he ever spoke to me, other than when he was cutting me, sitting me out. He came down and he kind of shuffled right in beside me and was like, "Hey, looks like you got a nickname, eh, kid?" And then he skated away, and I thought that was pretty cool. So
that's so awesome. So you were there at the time when the Leafs left Maple Leaf Gardens, and then you go to the Air Canada Centre. First game against the Montreal Canadiens, you'll go down in history as the guy who scored the very first goal in the Air Canada Centre, now Scotiabank Arena, and it was a wicked wrist shot right into the top corner, wasn't it? It was no doubter.
Yeah. Can't get away with that now, Matt, because they have YouTube. They have this thing called YouTube. So I tell my kids it was end-to-end rush. No. Yeah, it was a neat, it was a neat thing that happened. I said it was my 7th goal. You know what I mean? It's February 20th, and it's my 7th goal of the year. So it's a good thing, a cool thing to happen to a player like me. I think those things are often, superstars that get those kind of accolades. So, yeah, it was a broken play. Won the face-off was really the only thing I did, and the puck bounced a few times and then found its way on my stick, and I swatted it in. So they took the puck, they took the stick. It's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I mean, that whole year was exciting. You know, we added Cujo, we added Stump, Stevie Tom on the team, and just the whole ceremony, closing down the gardens, and then opening up the Air Canada Centre. The whole and the team is much improved. We were in the hunt that year, and so that was of my time in Toronto. That was easily the funnest team to be a part of, and all the alumni guys in and out of the dressing room saying hello, just encouraging us, and we turned the corner a little bit in terms of the franchise. And so I look back on that season. That was really fun. And again, like, I was playing sparingly. I was mostly a line guy. I did play some third line minutes when Alan McCauley was hurt, but mostly I was a fourth line guy. I was in the lineup. So for that to happen to me, that's a pretty cool thing too. I have that plaque and puck on the wall and everything else. So it's pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet. Timmer and I were talking before you got on, Todd, about how Bettman had his big announcement today. I haven't caught all of it yet, but what's the gist, Timmy? Is that there's 24 teams gonna play now in a Stanley Cup tournament, basically?
Yeah, they're saying 24 teams, and I just wanted to give Todd's what he thinks about where they potentially might play as a hub. They narrowed it down to 10 cities. They are Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Edmonton, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Pittsburgh, Toronto, or Vancouver. So as a player, you're going to be quarantined away from everybody to play hockey. Maybe you can have some fun in these cities. Which city are you picking, Todd?
Well, I mean, the fact that you're quarantined and you can't really do anything, so does it really matter if you're not in Vegas?
Fair enough.
Like, I mean,
fair enough.
But hey, I know, like, a lot of these cities would obviously logistically love to be the one to host one of the places. I heard Edmonton is high on the list because there's hotels and everything nearby and lots of practice. You got to consider ice conditions too. You're talking about July. August. I mean,
that makes sense.
How hot is it going to be in Vegas? How well are they going to be able to keep ice and not just their main arenas? But so, yeah, I read all that. I read some of that too. Just groups of 6. It's training camps will be, you're with your own isolated group of 6 players from day to day. So it's not a regular training camp, obviously. And so I don't know what the players will think about that. And obviously. Being isolated for length of time and just living in that kind of bubble by yourself without your families, it's got to be difficult to get your head around at this point. I'd love to see hockey like you guys, but I have trouble at this point seeing that all play out in the time frame that they're.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for sure. I just they want to make it happen and everybody wants to watch it, but I think it's still going to be logistically pretty tough to pull off. That's for sure.
This is my thought. So what they should do is quarantine all 24 teams in Vegas and then do a reality show of all 24 teams in Vegas. Because I think that would sell right there.
That's where you're making your money back right there for sure. For sure. NHL's making some money on that.
For sure.
Like Big Brother, right? Big Brother.
Oh, wow. Oh, I'm not sure about that one.
100%. Toddy, I appreciate it, buddy. We had a lot more to talk about too, but we'll have to get you on another episode. We're keeping you way too long from your landscaping and your Bud Light there.
Hey, anytime, boys. It's good to talk to you guys, and congratulations on the podcast. Looks good.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Have a good one, eh?
Appreciate it.
Blenheim's Todd Warriner. We'll have to meet him, like you said, over at the Red Barn.
We're gonna have to hook that up with Denny out at Red Barn. Love to have some beers. We'll find some better beers than Bud Light for Todd. Which one of those cities are you picking, McLeod? Let's say you're not quarantined. You're not quarantined. You got 10 cities. You want me? You got the list? You got it? Where are you going?
I'd say it's got to be Vegas. Like,
really?
What they're talking about is Vegas as because of all the hotels and the conference centers. Right. But Todd obviously brings up a great point. It's the desert. So let's think about hockey in there. So.
It's just fog galore, and all you're doing is playing. There's no fans. You're just playing in a foggy arena. I don't know. Yeah. I think you bring it up to I don't know, Tuktoyaktuk, Arctic Canada. That's the only way you're going to get some good ice. I'm going Columbus, Ohio.
Seabus is underrated
because they got the best beer. If I'm looking at those, other than Toronto, which I don't want to, I can go to Toronto in 3 hours. I want to go to Columbus. They got the best beer. I'm hanging out in Columbus. Got Buddy Murph that lives there. I'm sure he could hook me up with a cot. Maybe, I don't know.
Seabus is an underrated party town.
Man, I've only been there once, and they got some beer. Brewdog has a hotel, the Beer Hotel. Is in Columbus. If we could play hockey, me and you, which we can't, and we could go to Columbus and have access to Brewdog Hotel. Now we're talking.
Yeah, you got something there. You're working with something there. Thanks to Todd. Episode number 8 with Todd Warriner. Number 4 overall, 1992 NHL draft. And he's helped out a lot of young players here locally in Chatham County. Certainly is.
I was going to say, we didn't get to talk about the Blenheim boys and the Blenheim hockey and this hockey camp, because those are all big things going on in Blenheim. It's amazing to see the Blenheim boys. They've all kind of went off and played hockey and got an education or played professionally, and they all kind of migrate back to Blenheim, which is a pretty cool community. So it's pretty cool that those guys end up back in their hometown. Yeah,
I love Chad here. Who's your center in pond hockey? Cousin Nick or cousin Paul? Both former Chatham Maroons. I think both captains at one time. I think Paul ended up being a captain. Nick won the Sutherland Cup there. Nicky,
Nick, good dude.
Yeah, both of those would not be on Facebook though, so they'll never see this. So
we'll send him a cassette tape.
That's for sure. Do you have anything? We never talked about Battle of the Blades either. Because Todd's mom was a figure skating coach. That's why he was so good on his skates. One of his best attributes was his skating, and he still is wheeling around playing on Sunday mornings.
He crushed it in Battle of the Blades. I remember watching that with my figure skating coach wife. You don't get away from those things, Cloudy. You got to watch figure skating every once in a while. And Battle of the Blades, killing it, just killing it out there. Yeah, we gotta talk to Todd again. I think maybe we'll go to Red Barn. We'll have to do a live. Me and you, we'll do some autograph signing for our big fan base. Todd could come with us.
Yeah. That'll work out well. We should, I don't know, do we want to suppose? Because we almost had Corey Stillman make a surprise appearance tonight, and that would have been fun to have his old center from back in the Spitfire days. And Stillman went on to win a couple, 2, 3 Stanley Cups. Now a
couple Stanley Cups. Yeah. I think it might have made the Blenheim internet crash, though.
Yes. What we'll have to do next time we get Todd, we will have to hook up his internet. Because that's one thing Warners are not good at is not
that's all right.
Technical.
What a great dude. I'm glad I got to meet him tonight. Good guy.
No, really good. And I've heard a bunch of these stories, but like there's so many more.
Funny stories, man.
That was my wheelhouse of Maple Leaf hockey was like Felix Potvin. Tell me about him, and he would throw a story in there. So, yeah,
awesome.
Corey wants to know the difference between a double Lutz and a double axle.
That will be that's episode 9. Tune in for skating tips from Shauna. That's a new segment we're adding is skating tips from Shauna.
I love it. I love it. Well, Timmer, that's episode number 8. I think it's the longest one, and we'll have to get Todd back on again.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Real good dude. And remember, guys, if you have any ideas or suggestions, you can always fire them off through our Instagram or our Facebook or our YouTubes or any of those other things too.
We got lots of things going on.
We're legit now.
Influencers. Hashtag influencers.
Hashtag ad. Thanks, guys, for tuning in tonight. That's episode number 8, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday night. Right back here on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock next week. Cheers, Timmer.
Thanks, Lottie.